Telkom is in a space right now of major change. There is a major inflection that has to happen in the telecommunication space because as an incumbent fixed line operator traditionally, we are now free to be able to enter the mobile space. And therefore, we have a lot of challenges based on the incumbency that we had in the competition space, in some of the legacy technologies we have. Also, you could say legacy products and services that we have. And in order for us to leap to the future and enter the more modern space in terms of communications, we have to address quite a lot of issues. Firstly, like any other fixed line operator, the biggest issue we have is margins that are narrowing, and therefore the costs of operating a fixed line operator continues to climb up, whereas the revenue that you can derive out of that is either flat or going down. And this is not a phenomenon that is just inflicting South Africa alone. It's all over the world in most of the fixed line operators. And therefore, as a fixed line operator, you have to ask yourself, do you allow yourself to decline and the margins to continue to decline, or do you look for new sources of revenue? Obviously, the areas that are easy to enter are areas that are adjacent to the competencies that we already have. Hence, our strategy going forward is not only to address the issue of costs in the fixed line. A business model itself of providing fixed line is very costly. So we have to address the issue of the costs. But new life has been breathed into more fixed line operators because broadband offers the opportunity for growth, and therefore broadband is one of our thrusts for growth going forward. Also, a fixed line operator that doesn't have mobility in its basket is doomed. It is the choice of customers to use a mobile operator, especially on the consumer side. So the consumer instrument of choice for communication is a mobile phone. So therefore, as Telkom, us not having been able to enter the mobile space because of our investment in Vodacom, and now that we are no longer invested in Vodacom, we have the freedom to be able to enter in mobility. And therefore, in your baskets, once you've got mobility, then you are able to offer more converged services to your customers, to your customers, not only to retain them, but to also grow. So broadband, tackling the costs, growing in the mobile space, and in the adjacent services in terms of ICT. We've announced last year that we are also getting into the data center operations, even though it might not be software applications in terms of ICT. It is infrastructure-based ICT. And we have data centers. We have one of the biggest data centers for our own use in Telkom. And then we've developed from those skills in order to be able to offer it as a product to our customers too. So data center is one of the areas that we will grow the fixed line business going forward.
You've made main expansion, or rather business interests, in the rest of Africa?
Our Telkom is well placed to be the player in Africa that can make a difference. A lot of our South African companies are expanding into Africa. Examples, the ShopRites, the big banking groups, the insurance groups are having offices throughout Africa. And as our major customers, their needs is to be able to have networks that you do not notice that you've left the border. So a kind of service that a SATNAC Bank would have in central Johannesburg, they would like to have that in any of their branches throughout the country. So therefore, it's not just an issue of competition only. It's about being able to offer service that is ubiquitous, that is transparent, that the customer can have the same service experience throughout Africa. How do you then do that? There are ways of doing that, whether you buy operators in those countries or you form partnerships with others that already are licensed in those areas, and make sure that your primary customer is not even aware that you are offering services via other people. Luckily, Telkom does have investments in other parts of Africa through our investment in Multilinks, for an example, and iWay, which is in many countries in Africa. So all we are doing is to enhance some of the products that they offer so that we're able to offer our corporate customers in South Africa the same experience throughout Africa.